Hi. So I'm just going to record me trying to add an old style. Oh, that makes me feel old saying that. Um, Classic style VR avatar from Hubs. My friend Ray Cameron of Maker Comet shared with me a link to the Hubs Foundation GitHub that includes a downloadable files of things like their avatars. And so I downloaded a folder full of avatars, and I'm looking for one that she wanted to use. It's like triangles. These are accessories. Okay, these are like, oh wow, lots of accessories. That's cool. Haven't gotten into making accessories yet. Maybe it's not in this particular folder that I downloaded. So I'm gonna try an animal avatar. This panda was kind of cute. Let me first try opening one of those up. Import GLB downloads. It would be real nice to have a browser, right? I'm gonna try Panda. And it loads in. Oh, that's very cute. Just to note for, okay, this is rigged. So for the use cases that I'm picturing, one for Unreality3D to use as a costume, it doesn't need to be rigged. And I'm not sure what would happen if it is rigged. We definitely don't need these hands. I think for this experiment, I'm just going to Alt-P, clear and keep transform. Oops. I'm just gonna prove that it's separate now. Then I'm gonna hide everything else. And I'm gonna call this Panda costume. Cool. And it looks like it's applied. Actually, we should check out its item. Okay. 0.4 meters. I think it should be good. We'll just try it out as it is. If I start tweaking things, then we'll never know whether what I did is the problem or not. And just because this is heading into Unity, even though there are some GLB and GLTF importers for Unity, and Unity 6 might even just natively allow use of GLB or GLTF. They do have some different import settings options that I'm not used to. And so I'm going to export it as an FBX, even though that's not as optimal of a file format for like VR, but just bear with me. You can experiment with the GLB if you want to. I'm going to do FBX, go to downloads. I have already preset the export settings. I'm going to choose my unrigged. And the important parts here are that you're not importing everything, just the selected objects, or exporting everything. You're just exporting the selected objects, mesh in this case. And you want to apply scalings to FBX unit scale and apply the transform. This is the rest is default. You don't have to have animations. And it's probably better to leave it off if you don't have any there. That way you're not adding like data, extra data that bloats the file size. I mean, it's not going to bloat it very large if you don't have any animations, but I digress. The Unity rigged version includes armatures and definitely has animations. So I'm going to name this Panda Costume. Export it here next to my folder. And then in Unity, in my Unreality3D template project that I've downloaded from Unreality3D. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. So you can go to unreality3d.com, go to Quick Start, get your U3D template. It downloads it from the repo on GitHub. You don't have to figure out which version's correct. It's always the right one right there on that button. And you unzip it, you rename it, you maybe move it to your Unity folder, and then you open it through Unity Hub. And it comes packed with the whole U3D creator dashboard, which includes all these tools for making interactivity, optimizing your project, even monetizing and publishing, a full publishing pipeline. Sorry, I wasn't trying to get into like advertisement mode here. So from here, you can make your own assets folder. I think I'm going to make like demo costume and import that FBX. There we go. And you know, it's opening up on the rig. It's not rigged. I don't know why. Yeah, just no. Why did I do that? Why did I have to mess that up? Don't worry about it. So let's see. I think it comes packed with. Nope, it doesn't. So let's go back here. Okay, if you want to have your textures packed, when you export, you click path mode, select copy. This is totally unintuitive. And then you click on this little embed textures box. And the reason, so I guess it's intuitive if you think to hover and look at the tooltip, because it says embed textures in FBX binary only for copy path model. And I'm going to overwrite that. And the way to overwrite it in your project correctly is show and explore. And then go to your download, copy it, go back to this folder that you opened and replace it in the destination. That's the correct way to replace a mesh that won't wind up with duplicate materials, duplicate textures, all kinds of duplicate stuff you didn't want. Okay, so now I have extract textures available to me. Shoot. Yes, you want to do textures first, because if you do materials first and they don't have textures, it'll be the materials will be empty. So I'm just going to put them right in the same folder, and I don't see them. Let's try embedding or extracting the materials too. Oh. Why is extracting the textures not working? It may be because it may be that they are not packed in. So I'm going to go to my Blender file, pack resources. No new files have been packed. Well, then where are these textures? Oh. Well, that's an interesting goodie. This is a neat way of packing textures. So like, here's your UVs all squished onto here. And there's some of the others. That's cool. That's cool. Looks like that is packed. Oh, maybe that's the problem, is that it's packed. So maybe if I unpack and write it to the current directory. Oh, it can't do that. Well, this is really getting derailed. I didn't want to spend the whole video getting the textures in here. I'm very, very close to whatever I need to get that to work though. So let's just make, oh, I really want that texture in there. Let's go to the material. Get that base color. Open the image. Where even am I? Downloads. Nope, wrong downloads. This downloads. Open image. Cannot read. Permission denied. Okay, maybe I'll cut this part out. I'm gonna dig in. It's in here. It's definitely in here, and it's no longer packed. Maybe if I pack resources now. It did say it packed one file. I'll bet that's it. So you don't have to be here. Export FBX. Panda costume. Copy is on. Overwrite. Right click. Show and explorer. Go to downloads. Control C. Go back. Replace the file in destination. Extract textures. unpack. Right, files to the current directory. File, let's see. Unpack. No packed files to unpack. I don't believe you. I see it right there. Oh, it's not packed. Come on now. What's your file path? It shouldn't be in documents. And I don't think it is. I was just trying to open it from here. Oh, silly me. Maybe it's in here. No, no, it's not. Okay, I am definitely cutting this part out. This is ridiculous. It's in here. It is in here. What if I make it a fake user? Make paths absolute. Ooh, now I know it's an unsaved file and that doesn't work. So if I save it into my downloads as the panda costume blend file, that's right. It doesn't have a file path to extract it to if it's not a saved file, because it's just nowhere. It's just in memory or something. It's not. Okay. So now I can unpack. No, now I can pack. It packed two files. Oh, probably because of the hands. File. Export to X. All right. And then if this doesn't work, then maybe it needs to be unpacked in the file. I don't know. But if this works, then I really should have saved the blend file before. And I'm suddenly remembering that that's what I had to do in the past. Show an explorer. Place it. Extract textures, please, please. Didn't work. Unpack. I thought you said that you packed. Pack resources, pack two files. File. Unpack resources. Made the file paths absolute. Unpack. So much for being a Blender expert, right? So they are in here. I can't remember if I already tried it with packed resources. So I'm gonna try it one more time. If it doesn't work, then I'm just gonna go about my biz wax. Okay. Well. Image, save as, gradient diffuse. All right, you just saw me planning to do like a complete workaround. I'm just gonna grab it straight from. I just saved it. I saved it. In case you missed it, I went to texture paint. It's in here. Then you just go to image, save as. Way easier. But I mean, it would be easier if it had compact, right? It's just a me thing that I'm so weird. Okay, so now my panda has a costume. Okay. Let's see. I'm just gonna put it in this. Actually, no. I'm gonna leave that for y'all. I'm gonna go to the my scene and I'm gonna drop it. Not drop it. So first to make a costume, which is it's gonna be a steerable, which is a new thing that I haven't published my write-up on it yet, but it's coming, it's in the works. You first have to set it up as a prefab. It won't let you wear a raw mesh with no prefab as a steerable object, so as a costume. So I'm going to my demo costume file. I'm going to bring it into a scene. This is how you set up a prefab. I'm going to zero out its transforms so that it's what's the word I want to use? So that it doesn't spawn in somewhere away from where it belongs. And then when it's all, this is how I want it to be, just drag it back into the folder and now it's a prefab. So this is the base mesh, and this the difference between the icons is really, really subtle, but it's there. So the one that doesn't have guts you can open up and look at is the prefab. So now you can leave that there as a visual. That's what I like to do. I'm going to also I'm going to also add a UI, a little under project tools, media and content, add world space UI. And it doesn't add it to this object, it adds it to the world. Here's this one that I had in there already. If I was facing it the right way, let's say build here, publish in toolbar. That one you can delete. It's in this U3D optional object. So here, I'm gonna bring I think I might turn him around so that when the player loads in, they're facing And this is the world origin. I turned off gizmo noise because it was in the way, but it helps you. You can see which way your player is going to load in facing by this giant blue arrow. So I'm going to put this costume over here where they'll see it when they load in, when the player will see it when they load in. And this is just a visual. This isn't the actual costume, but you'll be driving the costume around. And oh, and the world space canvas. So if you select a thing and click F to focus in on it, and then select something else and choose move to view, it will put it essentially at that same spot, which is weird here. So here's your basic world space UI canvas that comes in. Why is it at negative 4.6? What happens if I make that 0? Well, 4. Okay. 1.5. I really like to zero things out. You don't have to do that, but it's my jam. And then you select the text panel to edit the text and edit what it says. So I'm going to say interact to where the costume are right where are. And you can style this however you like. I like my UI just giant and plain, but it's just basic Unity canvas elements. So any way you can edit those, you're free to edit these, and you're not going to break any Unreality3D stuff. So I've got a little canvas to show what to do. You might want to rename that like costume instructions, just so you won't forget. And you can set whether you want this to rotate to face the player. So the billboard, I recommend leaving the axis Y locked because otherwise the card will flip. But there might be reasons why you would want that. In this case, I don't. I want it to stay facing forward and readable from eye level. Then select, you can have an empty game object here for adding the steerable component makes it basically spawn something that your player can steer around in the scene. So it can be an empty game object, but I like to use the visual so that people can see what they're going to get. So I can look for steer up, and brings up seat and steerable because they work together. Apply to make it a steerable, and that added the steerable script, which has slots for the visual prefab and the replacement visual prefab and an avatar mode. It added the capsule collider, the mesh renderer, all the goodies that it needed. And then you drag in the prefab visual. And for this, I'm going to leave avatar hidden. But if you wanted your avatar to show as if it's writing on or in this object, you would change it to seated or standing avatar. And that adds a component to your slotted prefab that allows you to position the seat or where the feet go if you have it standing. So now there are handy dandy tooltips on here, but it's still hard for me to remember the difference between. So the vehicle visual appears on the player when they enter. Its position, rotation, scale come from the prefab. So if you want it, let's say I want the panda to actually hover above the ground. Whoops, I've got snapping turned on. I like working with snapping, but yeah. So let's say you want it to actually hover above the ground a bit. Then you edit it in the prefab, save, and rather than editing it on the steerable. So, but that's read the tooltips. I put these tooltips in to help myself remember what these things do and to help you. So this does explain that if you have an animator that you have hooked up to the parameters that we expose in the universal avatar controller. So like there's moving, oh, this is not right. That's not, oh yeah, is moving. Okay. You can, so let's say you have an animated critter that has like flippers. And you want them to go like this when the player is moving around in it. You would wire that up to the is moving parameter. And that is very far outside of this. I was trying to make this really simple. And I've gone way overboard in making it complicated. So you can actually stack these so that like the example I thought of was you could have the player become a bear, or you could have the player become a bird that's riding on a bear. So that's why there's a vehicle prefab and a replacement visual prefab. I need to like regurgitate. I need to spend some time outside of recording a video to like really get clear, be able to describe more clearly the difference, but just trust me. I think this is right, but let's just test it. I could be wrong. It might be that I'm thinking of the bit replacement. If you've watched any of my other videos, you may remember me mentioning that the minute I try to remember something is the minute it vanishes from my brain. So I'm having one of those moments right now. And my pause in OBS doesn't work. So maybe I'll cut this out too. It doesn't normally take this long. Are we in? We're in! Okay, so there is a loading camera that is available right as the scene starts, but you can't take control of your character until the character controller is fully loaded in, which takes a little bit longer because it's got more scripts. So let's see if this works the way it's supposed to. And it does. And you see I've got the offset from the ground. It's 0.2 above the ground because that's how I set my prefab. And ta-da! I have become a bear. Oh gosh, how cute am I? So everybody else will see me as the bear. The end, I'm done. Just kidding. Okay, so that's done. And I also wanted to show how easy it would be to replace the default Unreality3D Skip avatar. Skip is this little wooden figurine that is kind of an honorary family member in real life. And you can find Skip's rigged avatar mesh here and prefab. This is what works with, this is what's in the project by default. And it comes with 3 different materials. A Kazooie, I don't know how to pronounce that, cherry and pine, with just the color maps get swapped, the metallic and normal stay. But today I've added stick figure, which is literally just a stick figure. But it's rigged. It's a rigged humanoid. And if you have a rigged humanoid from like Mixamo or Rigify in Blender, I believe, just standard rigged avatars should work. So you go to U3D, prefabs, double click the player controller. Make sure you've got the top level selected. There's all these components listed on here. You want that one that I had, the U3D avatar manager script. It has a avatar FBX slot. So then you go to where your, oh, and shoot, I should make it a prefab, huh? Let me do that real quick. Prefab. Let's make sure. Oh, you know what? I don't think it has its materials. Oh, it does. Okay. We're good. I don't know why it's because it's behind that. Oh, I didn't even do my zeroing out. You know, if I had, I would have figured out. So just delete that. You'll get a little pink. It'll be like, and then put it at 0. Like I told you to. And then make the prefab. That's what you're supposed to do. And then you can delete it from your scene. I'm only leaving the panda costume in there because well, I'll delete it after this. If you want it, you're going to have to set it up on your own now that I've shown you how. So, where was I? Back to the prefabs folder, open the U3D player controller in edit mode. double click it. Then in the U3D avatar manager, just drag in your custom mesh. It says the player controllers changed, sync animator indexes updated, indices updated. Let's see if it works the way I said it would. I'm scared. It should be this easy. Now, note that that is going to propagate to every scene, everything in this project is going to then have that avatar. And boom. What do you know? It works exactly like I said it would. What? Oh, you know what? There is some weirdness here because like the camera is doing something. So I wonder if its transform is off? No. Hmm. That all looks correct. But for some reason, my camera seems oddly disconnected. So just so you can see what's happening in your scene, I recommend. Yeah, like look at how far away I'm getting from my avatar. That is not right. Well, this is going to be fun for me to figure out. But the good news is I showed you how it's supposed to work. And this is probably a bug that that's been there and I just didn't do the right thing to discover it before. So I'll figure it out. But anyway, I'll try to update the video when I get this working and have fun. Thanks. Bye. Hi. So just recording a little follow-up to show you what went wrong just then. I figured out that the avatar that I imported when I set it up as a prefab had apply root motion enabled right here. You don't want that. The skip avatar that comes with the project doesn't have apply root motion, and if you import any other custom ones, you'll want to also uncheck apply root motion. So now we're working as intended. Run. You can ride on the orange sphere. You can kick. There's a little glitch with this guy. He holds things in his head. I don't know why I'm calling it a guy. It's just a stick figure. And it throws from the head too, even though the hand motion works. So I don't know. I'll dig into that and see if I can figure it out. But everything else is working as intended. And yep. Enjoy.